disappointed in the performance. One falls on my shoulders. We just got to narrow down to some things that we do well, which right now is not much. I'm not going to get concerned in those things I don't have any control of other than this team.
Russ Mitchell, our SEC insider, here to opine on the future of the 3-3 Gators, more specifically their head coach. Russ, Muschamp still apparently will be on the sideline for the Georgia game this weekend. One word, yes or no, fait accompli, that he will not be back next season.
Yeah, he's not going to be back next season. I don't know if you make the move right now. Florida does have a track record. Remember, they fired Ron Zook ahead of the Georgia game back in 2004. So, I mean, there is precedent for doing it, whether or not it happens to Muschamp. There's pros and cons. But at the end of the day, Missouri wasn't in the loss column for this season. And when you look forward at the rest of the schedule, they're going to be hard to press this team to make it even to a bowl game for a second consecutive year.
All right, well, with that in mind, give me your list of not who everybody's speculating about, but in your mind, who the best potential successors would be in Gainesville.
Dan Mullen would be at the top of the best choices. I think he's familiar with the city, he's familiar with how they recruit, familiar with the tradition, having been the offensive coordinator back in 06 and 08, the last two championships for the Gators. After that, I think the best choice would be Art Briles at Baylor. That'd be a big get, though. I mean, he just signed a 10-year, $4 million per contract. That'd be a big extension. Plus, he hasn't coached outside of the state of Texas since the Carter administration. But still, that would be a big get for Florida. And the third, Rich Rodriguez out in Tucson, Arizona. Rich knows how to play that offensive-minded scheme. I think he could get him away from Tucson, even with all the young talent that he's stockpiled down there in the desert. Those would be the top three choices as best pick for the Florida Gators.
Interesting. There was a lot of talk about Steve Spurrier maybe going back and resurrecting the program, which I think is intriguing. Let's get a little debate going, though, because if Muschamp goes, it will obviously beg the question as to where Florida sits among the coaching landscape. In your mind, Russ, where is that?
As best jobs, top 5. I mean, when you think about where you can go and pretty much be guaranteed you can win a national championship or at least get a shot if you're a good coach. I mean, Florida recruits itself. You're looking at USC, Texas, Alabama, where, again, if you're a quality coach, it almost recruits itself. You're going to get more than enough talent to be able to put out on the field.
Top 5 for you, Pete?
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely, you're bound by absolutely nothing. But let me throw a little wrench in here. Remember, this defense stopped Missouri cold. This is a weird, flaky team. We were talking about this. Would you be absolutely that floored if with time to prepare, they came up with a defensive gem and uglied it up and beat Georgia something like 13-12? This is not Michigan where they have pretty much nothing going on. They've got something here, and they've got a relatively easy schedule after Georgia. I know we're all burying Will Muschamp. He's one win away from this still being a much stickier situation.
You know, Florida is offensively broken. Like, if you watch what they do on offense, nothing works. They don't run the ball very well. They can't throw the ball. When's the last time, if you ever would have told me that Florida would have had issues at the quarterback position, that'd be the last place I would have ever thought that the Gators would be that bad, is at that one position there. I figured they'd, may have to get some receivers, may have to get a back, but they're always strong in the quarterback department. They're offensively broken. Pete's right. On defense, they're great. You look at that job at Florida, they're in the SEC. In the state of Florida where you can recruit great kids. They've got the resources, and they were good. It wasn't that long ago that Florida was a really, really good football team. It's not like they were good 35 years ago. Yeah. So they were good a couple years ago. People still remember how good Florida can be and how Florida was.
They made a playoff 2 years ago.
Yeah, the job is definitely top 3 to 5 in the country right now. Absolutely.
Even their defensive stats are somewhat skewed by the fact that opposing offenses don't get on the field because their offense turns over the ball so many times and results in defensive scores or special teams scores. Look, the bottom line is this. Offensively, Florida doesn't work. It hasn't worked for a while now. The offensive line has been at the bottom of the SEC in sacks allowed for 3 years. So it's not all on Jeff Driscoll on the quarterbacking position. Receivers run sloppy routes, don't catch the ball. The running backs can't pick up a blitz. There's a lot of issues. It's a systematic failure on offense for the Gators.
And really quick, the one thing that matters too is that matters because at Florida it's a different place because they want exciting football. When you don't get people in the seats, they're used to fun and gun and Spurrier and Urban Meyer and Tebow. When you don't get people in the seats, all of a sudden, coach, Gone.
Russ, thank you. Always good to see you. We'll catch you in the next couple of weeks.